Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to another mathematics lesson. My name is Camille Searchwell Davis. In today's lesson, we will tell time on the hour and half an hour on a digital and analog clock. Can you tell me which one of these clocks is the digital and which one is the analog clock? Excellent. This is the analog clock, and this is the digital clock. Today, we will explore the analog and the digital clocks. What do we use them to do? Very good thinking. We use them to measure time. Okay, so the first one we will look at is the analog clock. The analog clock has numbers and hands that moves to tell us the time. The short hand tells us the hour and the long hand tells us the minute. The short hand is the hour hand. The hour hand on the first clock is pointing at 2, so it is showing 2 hours. And the hour hand on the second clock is pointing at 5, so it is 5 hours. The analog clock can be divided into 2 parts to show past and to. The first half, which is the yellow part of this clock, represents past. So when the minute hand is on this half of the clock, it is showing us past the hour. The long hand is the minute hand. Do you remember how we count the numbers with the minute hand? Did you say we count them by groups of 5? Very good thinking. Starting from 1, we skip count by 5 until we get to the number the long hand is pointing at. Let us try it. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Well done. Our minute hand is pointing at 30 minutes because it is halfway around the clock. We will also call it half past. When the minute hand travels all the way around the clock, it has traveled for a full hour, and we call it o'clock. Remember that the short hand is the hour hand, and the long hand is the minute hand. So, which number is the hour hand pointing at? Excellent. It is pointing at 10. How about the minute hand? Yes, it is pointing at 12. Do you know what time it is? Excellent. It is 10 o'clock because the hour hand tells us the hour and the minute hand is pointing at 12, so it is o'clock, 12 o'clock. This is what a lot of analog clock looks like. What do you notice about it? Very good. This clock has 3 hands: the hour hand, the minute hand, and a second hand. Can you tell the time on this analog clock? What number is the hour hand pointing at? Well done. It is pointing at 9. What about the minute hand? Yes, it is pointing at 12. So that means o'clock. So the time is 9 o'clock. Very good. Can you tell the time on this analog clock? What number is the hour hand pointing at? Excellent observation. The hour hand is moving away from 3, so we know the time is past 3. The minute hand has traveled halfway around the clock, so the time is 3:30. Okay, so what time is it on this clock? Well done. It is 10 o'clock. Can you tell the time on this clock? You are correct. It is 10:30. Okay, now let us look at the digital clock. The digital clock uses numbers to tell us the time. The numbers before the dots tell us the hour, and the numbers behind the dots tell us the minute. Can you tell me the time on this digital clock? What is the number before the dots? Yes, it is 5. So the 5 is telling us the hour. What about the number behind the dots? Correct. 00 is behind the dots. This tells us that we have no minutes. So the time is 5 o'clock. Now, can you tell me the time on this digital clock? Did you say 8 o'clock? Excellent thinking. You are doing so well today. Both the analog and digital clocks tell us the time of day in minutes and hours. Do you know what time it is on this analog clock? Does it match the time on the digital clock? Excellent thinking. Both clocks are saying the same time. What time is it saying? Yes, it is saying 4 o'clock. Both clocks use 4 to show the hour. On the analog clock, the hour hand or the shorthand points to 4. And the first number on the digital clock shows 4. Digital clocks and analog clocks use 1 to 12 to show the hour. But the minutes are shown differently on both clocks. On the analog clock, the minute hand or long hand points to 12. And on the digital clock, the last 2 numbers show 00. When we are reading the analog and digital clock, 12 and 00 means the same thing. It means that 0 minutes have gone past the hour. We read this as o'clock. The numbers on the analog clock goes up to 12, but remember, we count minutes by 5s. The numbers of the digital clock goes up to 59 for the minutes. Can you put in the minute and hour hand to show the time on the digital clock? Where should the hour hand go? Where would the minute hand go? If you said the hour hand should be on 6 and the minute hand should be on 12, you are correct. Now, What time is it showing? Excellent. It is showing 6 o'clock. Let us look at another one. What time is it on the digital clock? Yes, it is 11 o'clock. Now, where should the hour and minute hand go to show 11 o'clock? Is this what you did? Well done. The hour hand should point to 11, and the minute hand should point to 12 to show 11 o'clock. In this activity, we will look at the time on the analog clock and put the same time on the digital clock. Is this what you did? Excellent work. You are doing very well today. It is 5 o'clock. Now that we have looked at the hour, let us look at telling the time on the half hour. On the analog clock, the hour hand is pointing at 7. And on the digital clock, the number before the dots is 7, which means that the hour is 7. On the analog clock, the long hand or minute hand is pointing at 6. And on the digital clock, the number behind the dots is 30. This means that 30 minutes has gone past 7. So we say it is 7:30 or 7:30. Now, let us select the analog clock that matches the time on the digital clock. What time does the digital clock say? Well done. It is 1:30. Now, which of these analog clocks show 1:30? Is this what you chose? Excellent work. This clock shows 1:30. Let us look at another one. Which of these analog clocks match the time on the digital clock? What is the time on the digital clock? Excellent. It is 8:30. Now, which clock shows 8:30? Is this what you chose? Excellent work. The analog clock shows 8:30 or 8:30. How about this one? What is the time on the digital clock? Yes, it is 12:30. Do you see the analog clock that shows 12:30? Is this your answer? Excellent work. Before we go, remember, this is an analog clock. An analog clock has 2 or possibly 3 hands that go around in circles to show you the hour and the minute. And the digital clock uses numbers to tell us the time. The numbers before the dots tell us the hour, and the numbers behind the dots tell us the minute. For our final activity today, you are going to need an adult to help you draw 2 analog clocks. Put in the hands to show the time on the hour and the half hour. Remember that the minute hand should be on 12 when it is o'clock and on 6 when it is half past. Then draw the digital clock and put in the time on the hour and the half hour that is on your analog clock. You did a great job today, boys and girls. I look forward to seeing you next time.